everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today from our friends at Creative Expressions, I have the Woodware Craft Collection stamps. These are bubble bloom stamps. They're really fun to embellish all these little circles, and I can't wait to show you what we did with them, so come play with us. This first card was made by my friend Debbie, and it is a 5 by 6.5 inch card. And this stamp is called the Millie Stamp. It is so sweet. Debbie used for her background the Hydrangea Heaven 12 by 12 patterned cardstock, and then she also used the coordinating solid cardstock for this one. Now, what she did was here, she went ahead and covered her card with some lavender solid cardstock and then cut her patterned cardstock just a little bit smaller. And she used one that had this really pretty border right here. And then she took her stamp and stamped it directly on the card surface here. And then she used, I should mention, when we are going to be using some alcohol markers, these are tri-blend markers by Spectrum Noir. And we have a couple of shades of green. This is light green and dull green. And if you're not familiar with these, they're 3 pens in one and perfect for blending. But you do need to use an ink that will not run into the alcohol. So alcohol-proof ink, which is also by Spectrum Noir, perfectly labeled, you know, you don't have to worry about getting it wrong. But then there's also Tuxedo Black Memento, which is a water-based ink. Which is great for using as well. So both water-based inks are great to use with alcohol-based markers, so that way they don't interact and they don't bleed. So she stamped that, and then she used some really wonderful little things here to color in and fill all these little bubbles. So let me show you what she used. We've got some Cosmic Shimmer 3D Pearl Accents, and this is Purple Violet. I'm going to show you actually physically use this in one of the other cards, but it's just a little squeeze out paint. And she did that here on these big circles right here. And then she also added some little sparklets. This is jellyfish sparklet, and we've got some little tiny rhinestones as well as these little half pearls that are in purple, and then we've got these large clear crystals right there. But then she also added this little jewel mix right here, and it comes with this little container of purple jewels, which you can just drop out just like this. And then what's great to use with both the sparkles and these jewels is our jewel picker, and it's got 2 ends. It's got a tiny little end, and then I like to use the larger end because it's got a little bit more surface, and you can just touch those and pick those up, okay? And then squeeze a little bit of glue onto those circles, and then just go ahead and place your little rhinestone or your little sparklet right on there. And it makes that really simple and super fun. You know, if you have a little work table you like to sit at while you're watching TV, excuse me, or listening to your favorite podcast, that is just a perfect thing to use. All right, so let's take a look at another one here. This is another one that my friend Debbie used. Whoa, we're super blurry. There we go. For this one, for the background papers, once again, 5.5 by 6 inch card, she used Sunflower 12 by 12 patterned cardstock. Whoops. And also the coordinating solid cardstock. Covered her card first with red cardstock, then cut her patterned paper slightly smaller and glued that on the top. And then for this one, Debbie did something a little different. She stamped onto, we love from Hunky Dory, these lightweight essential cardstock. We call it Stampin' White cardstock, and it's great. It takes the color of the inks super, super well. It's a very nice shade of white as well. And she stamped that and then colored them in with those Spectrum Noir markers, the tri-blends, and colored those in. And then she took some little scissors, if I can find my little scissors, and cut them out, cut around. Nope, can't find them. Just cut around everything right here. And then she didn't try to cut around each flower, so she just kind of went large areas like that. She didn't bother cutting in those stems, but she did color those in with the lightest shade on those markers. And then used foam tape to place this. But she also used this little die that we have right here, also from Woodware Craft Collection, from Creative Expressions. It's this sweet little die that cuts all the little circles, and then you use a little ball tool to just give them a little contour and then glue them down. And then she used also some gold and some red glitter cardstock in the same way, and then just put a little, well, actually it's a little mound of glue, and then put each one of those on there. And I'm going to show you how to do that, I think, right now. Here we go. So here we are. So for this card, well, let's see, I forgot to show you. Where was I? Here we go. So for this card that Debbie used, this one is Trinity, to show you that stamp. And then this one right here, names are on the back, I have to look. This one's Fizzy, so cute. So for this one, I stamped using, I think it's lilac paper pack right here. Lilacs in Bloom. Okay, and I found a really nice subtle pastel print on my 5 by 6.5 card, cut it a little bit smaller, and then I used the Memento ink to go ahead and stamp my image and my greeting. And then I found some cardstock and I stamped just the leaf part and then cut those out. And then I'm going to glue them right here. And it's okay that they're covering up my circles because I'm going to put my little goodies right on top of that. So I'm just going to glue right there. So instead of coloring them in with pens, I'm going to go ahead and use this paper, rather cardstock. And then I've also got a little strip of torn lilac paper, and I'm going to glue that right across the bottom. I'll just put glue directly on the card. I want to make sure I get those edges of the card especially, because the edges really are the ones that get the most wear. I don't have to really worry about the inside of the card as much as I do the edges. Gosh, I wish I could find my scissors. Here we go. Now I'm going to just turn that over and trim that even with the card front, just like that. And now I can get to decorating. So I've got some, these are purple jewel Dazzle stickers. And these are great because you can just take that little jewel picker, and I'm going to use a used sheet here, and you can just take that large end, and we can zoom in on this, Steve, and then you can just take this and take one of these large jewels, and you kind of have to press it and then stir it a little bit. And then it's going to lift right up. And then this one is not quite big enough to put on these really large circles, so I like to put them on these. There's like 4 sizes of circles. So I'm going to put them on that second to the smallest size. Just like that. There we go. There. Right where, there we go. We're just going to, and then I'm going to use the next smallest size and put those on the small circles. Just like this, and we can do that right over those leaves. As you can see, it's just fun to just take these little sizes and match them up and put them like that. Okay. And then I'm going to take, oops, I'm just going to put a few more of these. I'm not going to actually finish this right now because we'll just take a little break and then we'll come back and you can see it finished. And then I wanted to show you the Cosmic Shimmer 3D Pearl Accents in Pearl and Violet. And this is the one that Debbie used on this card as well. I wanted to show you how this just kind of squeezes out so great. It works really well on these really, really large ones. And you'll see I just place it right here, and I'm just very slowly filling that circle. Let's try that again. Just place it and very gently squeeze. Sometimes you just move it out a little bit, but you're just letting that paint flow in and filling that. And that also allows it to dome up, which is a great technique. There we go. And I'm stopping just before it gets too big so that the paint can settle a little bit. It's better to stop before, while you're learning to use this, better to stop before it's completely full, because then can always go back and just add a little bit more. But if you overfill, it'll go outside of those edges and then you're kind of stuck. And if you get a little air bubble in there, just kind of go like that and pop that. There we go. So that's finished, and I did want to point out that these do take some time to dry. Steve just asked me that, and I said, you know, I would give them an hour to set up. But if you're going to pop this into an envelope, I would definitely let them sit up overnight because they're quite thick. And, you know, if you were going to be mailing it right away, let it sit overnight, let them dry thoroughly, and then you'll have no problem at all. As you can also see, I took the little black dots that were right here. I'm going to lift one up here. And no, I'm not going to lift it up. Anyway, there were these little black dots that you see right here on here. And I just took the smallest jewel dazzles and I stuck those on there. And so now it's quite bright and shiny. And when this dries, it'll dry to a darker purple like this one. Right now it's quite light. I'm going to put this aside on a nice flat surface and let that dry. All right. And then we have, this one is the Susie. And this one, we stamped this one on that great Stampin' White cardstock. And I also used, I want to show you here, some purple velvet ink. And I'm just going to take my blender brush, and we have these in 2 different sets. I'll post both of those down below in the products used. I'm just going to dot that right there. And what I'm going to do is just put some ink right here. And just really go outside the lines on this, because I want to just have that really soft look, just like that, all the way around. You have this nice big full sort of hydrangea blossom. Clean this off so I don't get ink on my other projects, get purple ink on a light blue background that I don't want. Then I'm also going to take, this is a dull green blend marker, and if you're not familiar with the tri-blend markers, they are 3 pens in one, so that's the darkest shade. Then we have the middle shade, and you just blend that right into the darker. Just like this, and I'm going to go up a little farther. Ooh, this pen's drying out a little bit. You can always tell when they make a little squeaky sound. And now we're going to the lightest shade. Finish off. Oh yes, this is very dry. We're going to switch this out. So I'm actually using a light green pen to go over all this because that dull green was just too dry. We'll still get the idea here. All right, so you're just going over that with the lightest shade to blend that all together. And then you have a leaf that starts dark here at the base, and as it's growing out and reaching the light, it has a nice light tip. All right, so then once we get done with that, we are moved on to our card at this point here. So what I did was this, once I got to this point and I colored everything, then I used some 12 oval and scallop cutting dies here, and I cut out a nice oval and then of course matted that. And here I am using the hydrangea paper. Here we go. And coordinating cardstock again. Here we go. All of these will be linked down below. And then I'm going to be using some really nice suede paper, and this one is violet suede paper. If you're not familiar with it, it's got fabric on the front and paper on the back, and it's just got the most lovely texture. So I have cut a bunch of these here, well, several of them, and I'm taking my little tools here. Let me find the other one. Where did it go? Here we go. And we set of 3 little ball tools and the little foam, what we're going to use. And we're going to grab probably the smallest ball tool, which is this one right here. We're going to turn these over, and then how you get these things, you do this with paper, the suede, and they will just curve just like that. Oops, here we go. See that nice little curve? We're going to do this on all of them. Give them those nice little concave looks. All right, and then to glue these on, I've actually done this to all of my appropriately sized pieces. So I'm just gonna do one right here, even though this is a little bit too small. You do a nice little thing of glue. It's kind of a little circle that has some dimension to it. And you're just gonna put that right down on top of that so that it's touching the glue, and then it's just going to dry like that. Now at this point, we can use little Jewel Dazzle stickers again, or we can use the glue, or we can use this little jewel mix. We can use sparklets, but I'm gonna go back to the, this was Cosmic Shimmer 3D Pearl Accents. This is Teal Sky. Okay, and I'm just gonna do a little bit. I'm not gonna finish this one. There we go. And one thing I forgot to mention when I was covering my card with paper, my 5 by 6.5 inch card, I actually cut away on the front. I cut away from the very top layer 2.5 inches. So now there's just a 2.5 inch flap on the front of my card. See, like this. And then I put my oval right on top, so we have a nice cutaway. Covered the back with paper, put a little stamped greeting on there that comes included right here. And then right down in the corner, I just added some pastel, pearl and pastel, tiny words and phrases Dazzle stickers. Just added a little friend there. And then I used some purple ribbon. This is a purple glimmer ribbon. And all of those items can be found in our supplies down below the video. I'm going to finish that up so you can see that down below the video when it's finished, what that looks like. And I'm really wanting to show you that if you don't have a die cutting machine, these stamps are absolutely available to you because you can use so many other things to finish them off. All right, so I have one last card to show you. Let's see. This is one that my friend Debbie made, and this one is the Ghillie. So cute. This is the Ghillie Bubble Bloom flower. What she did with this was she started off with some, first of all, it's a 5 by 6.5 inch card. She covered that card with black cardstock. She also used some silver linen paper, and then she did her stamping with watercolor paper. And I found what I was looking for. So Debbie stamped on watercolor paper using a white embossing powder and an embossing pad. And for the embossing pad, we have actually 3 options, which I'll list all of these in the bottom in the supplies below. She used this Wow embossing pad, but we also have upside down Versamark and Watermark translucent clear ink. Whatever embossing pad you like, and then use that with white embossing powder. And then we're going to do a little watercolor technique with this. So let's get out. Now we can either use a craft mat with this, which is also great, and I'll link that down below, but I thought I would pull out the old glass cutting mat. And if none of you have used this before, it's 13 by 19 glass, and it's made by Crafter's Companion, and it's great for using it as a palette for watercolors. So what Debbie did was she took 2 shades of Harmony Water Reactive Ink by Spectrum Noir. She used Fuchsia and Midnight, and what she did was, we're going to try to get as close to this as we can because mine is going to look a little different than hers. She went ahead and put her colors, sort of mixing them like this, directly on the surface, like that. And then what's great about this is once you go ahead and put a little bit more on here, so you have a little bit larger surface, then you're going to take your water, and we have a little mister here, which is clean water in it, and we're going to get this wet. We're going to spray some water on there. And then we're going to take this, because this has got this white embossed image on the watercolor paper. Normally I like to wear gloves with this, but we're going to get messy on this. So if you have a nice event to go to later on, you might want to wear some gloves because your fingers are going to be stained. But we're artists, right? We're crafters. We are going to have that on our fingers all the time. All right, so I think I need some more water on there. Definitely more water. And she just kind of drug it like this. And then we're definitely going to need more color. And she said what's great about this is that you can just keep adding layers onto this. Until you're satisfied with the colors. All right, so you're getting an idea of this here. This is the white. It's working as a resist. Here we go, and you just kind of keep doing this and adding more color like that. And then we're going to do a little bit more like that here. And you can also dry this with, dry your paper, of course, with a heat gun, and then add more colors that way. Dragging it through like that. And that's where you're getting your blue, your color, your blue and your pink are kind of mixing together, and you're getting purple colors. But the most important part is that your white embossing powder is working as a resist, and that's really coming forward, and that's looking really, really beautiful. All right, so what I would do is can I get a cloth here to wipe off my hands? Just keep adding colors until you get the intensity that you like. Wipe this clean, and then we'll move on. That's what's so great about a glass mat, is that you can use all kinds of mediums on there and it just wipes right off. All right, so then when Debbie got to this point, she let this all dry. Okay, so she's got several layers that we just did. She let that thoroughly dry, and then she went back and she added some markers. So the colors that she used are right here. So there's several shades of pink. So she's got pale pink blend. And then this is pale pink shades, which is a little bit different. And then we've got a bright pink right there, purple, and then the greens that she used on her leaf were light green and then the dull green. So she just colored all of these little round blossoms in, and then did her leaves, and then she went back over that with this clear glitter pen. There we go. And just added a little bit of sparkle to the blossoms, just only to those, so you can see that little sparkle there. And then she went by and she glued her silver mat to the card, the watercolor paper, glued that to the black covered card, and then just added some white Jewel Dazzle stickers along the top and the bottom edge. She stamped also her little greeting here, wishing you a perfect day, right there in black ink. So you guys, we have just got a wonderful money saver on all of these. As you can see, for these stamps, you do not need to have a die cutting machine to get this look right here. You can use paints, you can use jewels, you can use Dazzle stickers, so many different things that you can use to get this wonderful look. So if you're watching us on Paper Wish's Webisode page, then you'll want to just take a look on the right hand side and you'll find the money saver, and then down below all the products that we use, the glass mat, the inks, everything is listed there. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hey, consider giving us a thumbs up. It helps people find us. Subscribe. We do three to five of these videos a week, and you can find everything in the link below in the description box. It'll take you right over to paperwishes.com. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.